Hey there, beautiful people, and happy terrific Tuesday. I hope today has brought you nothing but reasons to smile. And if it hasn't, you know how it goes. By the time you leave here today, you will have either laughed at me or with me, and I'm okay with both. Thank you for joining me today for day 3 of reading my newest book, Spilling the Tea. Some may want to know why are you reading this to us? Just have us buy it. Here's the thing. Sometimes people want to make sure that their investment is worth their money and their time. And not just that, some people may not have it. We live in a world where you never know somebody's circumstance and everybody's always going through something. So, this is my way to gift this and to give this, as well as walk you through this with me in real time, because there may be some things that I want to stop and explain to you. So, again, thank you for joining me. All right. So with each read of the book, I read a review from one of my current or prior clients. And so we've read 2 so far. And so I'm going to read another review of my services. If you're just now joining these reads, you may want to go back and catch the other videos because it explains more of what I was asking the clients. And it will give you more insight on how and why they answered the way that they did. So let's go into another review from this one comes from California, and this is what was said. I was tired of wearing a mask and I wanted to be more open and vulnerable with my husband. But due to past traumas, I had a hard time being completely open and real, and I felt like I was cheating because I felt like I wasn't loving him to the full potential that he deserved. Tea therapy was a struggle in the beginning when it came to being real with how I felt. And I blamed myself for all the things that had happened to me in my past. I had to relive moments of my life that I never wanted to think or feel again. But because I did, I am now free. I have so much peace, love, and gratitude in my heart, mind, and soul. Tea therapy started to get easier, and I learned that I was safe to say how I truly felt. There were even times where I had to do a few weeks on the same person because I wasn't being completely honest with myself. This usually happens when that individual had such a huge impact on my life and broke me the most. This is very true. Tea therapy really helped me realize that all the things I thought about myself weren't true, that every feeling that I had felt was real because it had happened. And just because it happened didn't mean that it made me a bad person. Tea therapy lifted off decades of trauma and pain that I held on to because I was afraid if anyone knew about my past, they would think of me as being tainted or dirty. It helped me realize that I was protecting the inner child of me that was left hurt and abandoned. I would recommend Amy to everyone. Her voice is so warm, calm, and welcoming. She gives you a feeling of wanting to open up, and you can without ever feeling 1 ounce of judgment from her. She makes you feel comfortable, loved, and most of all, important. Working with Amy made me realize how much I deserve in life and how loved and important I am. I can now look in the mirror and say, I love you out loud without closing my eyes, turning my head, or crying uncontrollably. She took the mask that I have worn for decades and she shattered it. I have never been so happy as I am today. I still have moments of doubt, but I remember to use my ABCs of gratitude. And it makes those dark moments light. Thank you, Amy, for believing in me, never giving up on me when I didn't believe in myself, or when I took 1 step forward just to fall 3 steps back. You have healed me in areas that I never thought were broken. You helped me find the life I have always yearned for. You have boosted my confidence so much and taught me the true meaning and feeling of what it's like to be loved. Love always wins. Tea therapy is something that I will continue to use for the rest of my life. You will meet people in your life, and not all are meant to stay forever. Doing tea therapy on them will help you get through the heartache that you may be feeling during the time of their departure in your life. I will tell you that I have had clients who have lost multiple people in their life. I have had clients who have been aggressively abused during different times of their life. I've had clients who experienced traumatic events from their young age all the way up through to their adulthood. We all have something, whether we want to identify it or even give it acknowledgement that it's there. sometimes we rather just pretend that it never happened. And that can be very suffocating. So I'm proud of all those who have reached out, even when it was uncomfortable, to go through and get a therapist or a counselor or a coach. And I know some don't like to be grouped in that same thing, but when you find a whatever suits you, coach, therapist, it will change your life. It will really change your life. And so if you are on the fence about going and talking to somebody and you don't know where to start, getting this book may help, because it will at least get you to the point of being aware of some of what you're going through. And T therapy, being a 5-step process, will walk you down through some of that hand in hand, and won't leave you alone, and won't give you a bunch of directions. I give you real-time, real-life examples of things that have happened in my own life. So that way you're not confused on how to do the work behind all this. I'm very transparent in this book, and I didn't do it because of any other reason than to let you know that you're not alone, and to show you that it's not the easiest work, but it will certainly benefit you for years to come, and it will change your life forever. So T therapy, if you haven't ordered it, you can Google it and find out which bookstore or which website is best or easiest to order from where you're at. Thank you, Poland. You have bought several books. France as well. US, you're in there, but I'm telling you, the UK is giving you a run for your money. So thank you for the support and for the reaching out. I really appreciate everything. So let's get into our read for today. We are actually going to, excuse me. We are going to, I believe we finished up. We are going to start in chapter 2. Sorry about that. I read on different sites and I'm like, where was I? So chapter 2, I love this little teacup, and it will be the journey. Here comes T therapy. Aren't you getting excited? We're getting into it now. Then came along T therapy. In doing the work of T therapy, I had to face my shadows, eradicate distortions in my thinking, and address things I had thrown under the rug. I needed to rid my past in a healthy and systematic way while healing all at the same time. That in itself was a tall order. Being in the medical field for over 10 years and studying human behavior, I was aware that there is a mind and body relationship that creates a response systemically. I understood the power of the subconscious mind, the programming, the importance of emotions and the environment as early as embryonic development, and the effects it has on a child even before birth and throughout childhood. These years are so often overlooked as potential resources for understanding current emotional patterns and behavior. For the most part, childhood is remembered for many good things, thankfully, and not the ugly dysfunction that many of us have survived and that we had viewed as normal. Then one day it all catches up to us. Sure, I had all this information, I had studied it, but I didn't see how it shows up in what looks like a healthy, functioning adult, particularly me. I felt I had done well holding on to life, making changes as they were required, accepting the highs and the lows of life. Then I realized my changes were reactions instead of solutions. So if you are wondering why you are not getting lasting results when you are changing yourself, I would say you may not need to change yourself as much as you may need to heal and understand yourself. You have to genuinely allow for healing to happen. Over time, we build walls that we forget we put there. We allow excuses to protect our wounds, and we start avoiding things. We become better liars as adults as we were as children, avoiding punishment. The worst part, the majority of the lying is lying to ourselves, pretending everything is okay. Then that becomes our truth and the basis of who we are. It's one of the unfortunate ways adults cope at times. We just avoid, dismiss, ignore, blame, or simply excuse it. We just don't want to deal with it. To put it straightforward, we become very hard-headed as adults, and we don't like to do what we don't want to do, even if it's beneficial to us. Many times we don't like to be uncomfortable, nor do we want to do the necessary work. We try to find shortcuts in doing the work or pay someone else to do it. That may work for some things, but not all things. Be brave enough to heal yourself even when it hurts. Bianca Spiricio. Layers. We are all people of many layers. We tend to bury some things deeper than others. For most adults, we like to believe, I'll forget it and it'll go away. Or we like to be the tough one and say things like, why cry over spilled milk? The past is the past. We go on as if the traumas, dysfunctions, or painful things that happened to us in our childhood, youth, or even adulthood just fade away all on their own. I think it is pretty amazing how we're able to just go on after many painful life experiences that had the potential to destroy us. Unfortunately, it eventually catches up with us. I have clients as young as 21 and as seasoned as 72. You don't outrun life. It is with you the whole time, waiting for you to face it. When the time comes for you to face yourself, it doesn't usually come with a dozen roses and a sweet note card saying, deal with your inner self, please. It usually comes with a little more urgency than that. Many times the message for change comes in harsh reality checks. And they may sound like, start taking this high blood pressure medication. You're now borderline diabetic. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. It's over. Why are you always so angry? The truth is, disease is simply just that, a form of dis-ease. What shows up on the outside is simply a reflection of what's going on inside. It's been proven time and time again that we are a product of our environment. I'm not referring only to the geographical references, but mental, emotional, and physical environments as well. We can only be who we are. That may take saying a few times before it's fully understood. And for me, it took over 40 years to get it. So I say it again, we can only be who we are. Who we are comes from a place deeper than the eye can see. It's not what they call us. It's not what we're paid to be. It's not who they expect us to be. And it's not who we aspire to be. Who we have become is a total sum of our experiences and who we feel we need to be because of them. Then we play out our current realities based on those experiences. That makes us who we have become. This, however, doesn't mean this is who we truly are. Stay with me. Have you ever asked someone why they do something and they tell you that their dad did it that way or their mom did it that way? Or you ask someone why they don't try something and they tell you it's because they tried it 15 years ago and they still don't like it? Or you ask someone if they like onions, for example, and they say no, and you ask them why and they say, I don't know, I just don't like the way they smell. Letting experiences shape our realities can cause serious hindrances in our growth. Those were minor examples, but some experiences shape us in a good way and some not so good. Either way, we change because of our life experiences, whether we're aware of it or not. If we have a part of our past that is rotten and spoils our present moments, keeping us from our total self, we're not who we think we are. We are simply surviving and avoiding, which keeps us from our truest self. You may want to reread that because that said a whole lot. Avoiding healing or ignoring the need to heal will leave you feeling trapped, suffocated, limited, and fearful. Fear will keep you looking for constant distractions and knee-deep in constant avoidance. You may feel like nothing in the world bothers you most of the time until you're alone with yourself, or the times in life something pokes the bear, as I like to call it. Then you spiral into an unavoidable, unexplainable, ugly part of yourself. That place is usually dark, sad, leaving you feeling alone and misunderstood. Then you start thinking of ways to get far away from what you are feeling. As mentioned in the intro of this book, as people, we tend to try to find a way of removing ourselves from moments of unwanted feelings by finding a distraction or a vice. Unfortunately, what you will find is, no matter how deep you have buried things, either intentionally or even unintentionally, you will continue to run from your shadows until you decide to face them. You can't get away from yourself by moving from one place to another. Ernest Hemingway. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for even being curious. We all have our time that we decide when we're ready to change. And that might be today for you. It may have been yesterday for somebody else, and it may not be for years for the next person. But what I will say is the best you is inside of you. There's nothing you need to, you don't need to go get a new brain or a new past or no, it's in you. Sometimes it can feel very clouded where you are. And at times it can be very bleak and hopeless. Just know that healing is important, because hurt people, and broken people bleed on people. Healing is so important, and you're so wonderful. You're not here for nothing. You're here for something. There is treasure in you. I believe in you. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. Stop looking around and look inside. The answers are there. Love yourself and trust yourself. Make sure you tell yourself at least 2 times a day, I can, I will, and I'm so worth it. Yes, you are. God bless you. And remember, friends, awareness is power. Until tomorrow.